Hey, ladies and gents, it's them back again with a iconic plane review, and there's nothing more iconic in World War II than the Stuka dive bomber. We've all seen the black and white films of this thing flipping over, the siren lighting itself up as it reached a certain speed, and whistling that crazy sound that it made as it dived down on its target. This first flew in 1935. The competition that it was involved in, it actually didn't win. Surprise, surprise. It ended up losing out to the Heinkel, and mysteriously they ended up canceling the Heinkel shortly after the contest ended, and the Ju-87 was, of course, chosen. It was developed purely as a dive bomber. The designer thought this was the best a way for a bomber to, and it actually kind of screwed the Germans to a certain degree because there was a bunch of bombers that were later on that were, not really made to be dive bombers, but they tried it anyway. That was the relatively, and this thing fought on all fronts. Eastern Front fought in Africa. It fought on the Western Front. It was produced from 1935 to 1944. Of course, there were several different there was a lot of changes to it, a lot of different versions of it. Originally, this plane was actually fitted with a Rolls-Royce Kestrel engine, eventually being changed over to a Jumo engine, things like that. So yeah, there was several different little versions of it. A lot of improvements over the years that it did serve. It was very successful early in the war, especially in anti-shipping and whatnot. It did not do well when there was no fighter cover. By 1944 they had lost air superiority, and these planes are being shot down left and right. So they were kind of shoved to the back a little bit. Uh, yeah, so that's really the history of it, and it's kind of got some interesting innovations. This aircraft would get up to around 15,000 feet and tip over into a relatively 90-degree dive. There was a actual glass window in the bottom of the plane. That's what they used to sight the bomb through. Uh, and once they reached about 1,500 feet, they would actually drop the bomb. Uh, which made this even more interesting is this aircraft actually had a system that allowed it to recover from that dive without the pilot. It was an automatic system. After the plane was dropped, the pilot simply pushed a lever, and they were able to recover the aircraft, even if the pilot was blacked out, because the pilot would oftentimes reach up to 6 Gs and then simply black out. With the automatic recovery system, it made this plane much more usable. So, relatively, simple history of it. Uh, this model that we have in game is the Ju-87G model. This aircraft was actually developed mostly through the input from Rudel. Rudel was the number one leading ace in the Stuka for the Luftwaffe, and he wanted lobbied to get this thing worked out. Ended up with two 37 millimeters on gun pods slung under the wings. It also could carry 2,200 pounds of bombs, which we fucking don't have. Slow clap for wargaming. I mean, really, come on. This is the legendary Ju-87 dive bomber, and we just get the ground attack version, who, like I said, also was able to carry 2,200 pound bombs. So we're not going to get into that. That's a whole nother argument because, reasons. I'll never get wargaming sometimes. What we have in game, of course, is the mounted with the two 37 millimeter cannons. These things hit hard. They're a little inaccurate, a little tougher to hit things with, especially other airplanes. Yeah, I know I shouldn't do that. But you'll watch in the videos where I'm talking about this aircraft I use not just on ground targets, but it's a great GA. The best plane for shooting down another GA is, of course, another GA. Has a 7.92 millimeter machine gun and two machine guns in the back. Not real handy unless the aircraft is, of course, low health. Then, of course, it works fairly well, but nothing like some of the Russian ones. Yeah, that gun is just a little bit small in my opinion. But hey, what are you gonna do? I actually just put a crew back on it, played it a few times, so I have only an 83% crew on it. I do use concealing livery 2. improved covering too, and of course the improved reflector sight just to help out with that 37. Has a little bit of a hard time hitting targets. Ground targets not so much, but when I have to take care of airplanes that are shooting at me because there's no cover, yeah, it is a little hard. But when you do get them to hit, oh my goodness, it's rather fun to watch full health aircraft just take a absolute dicking. So all in all, yeah, it's a fun plane. I'm a little disappointed. You know, you get into the game, you see a Stuka, you're like, oh, sweet, I get to play the legendary Stuka, and then you find out you don't get no bombs, and so much for the dive bombing part of it. Yeah, what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? So I'm gonna bring up a couple videos for you guys to check out about the Stuka, and see. And to my opinion, this thing's a little too soft. It really does need ordnance to make it better, in my opinion. The 37s are fine, but you know, not carrying any sort of ordnance, no bombs, really seems to hamper this aircraft, in my opinion. And it does, you know, and really for its maneuverability for being a GA, it's not bad dealing with other GAs. Yeah, it can definitely turn with a lot of them, especially the Russian IL series. So, with that said, I'm going to bring up the video for you guys to check out, and we can talk a little bit more there. Alright guys, back to the replay here with the Ju-87G. We're in the desert. Oh, the lovely, lovely desert. And we're going to get a little bit of altitude here, and we're going to go after that command, or I'm sorry, the military base. Slow as fuck. Do not expect to get from one point to the other really quick. You know, this thing is about 250 is about all fast you're going to get out of it in level flight, and that's with complete and utter boost on it. But what is real nice about these cannons is they do have an epic long range. You can shoot, I believe, over almost 4,000 feet with it. Yeah, very nice. When they do hit, like I said here, you know, you're seeing me taking off some pretty good sized numbers. Finish off the first set here, move over here to another set, see if we can turn this cap relatively quick. And I don't finish the last one off because I'm not paying attention, unfortunately. So I'm just going to see if I can do any more damage here before this cap officially flips. Finish off the next target, flip over, extend my flaps, and I'm just a little too low for that kind of stuff, so I'm going to flip back around here and see if I can finish off that one last target over here. They do finally get it, and I'm out of here. So you really have to be kind of planning where you're going to go with this thing. Once you got to get in a general direction, it doesn't work out the best to be flying around too much because you're not going to get a whole lot done. Flip up and over. Thought maybe I'd get lucky because, like I said, when this thing hits, it is ridiculous how much damage it can do. Stall it out. You can see, of course, the stall speed is very super low. Flip it back around. They actually kill him, so I'm not terribly worried about it. So we got the center, and now I'm going to be moving on toward the other objective point. But, you know, let's be a cheeky fuck here. I got the BF 109 right around that 4,000 mark. Yeah, there you are, buddy. 3,500 feet. It's pretty far away. So let's see here. Yeah. Sniper rifle, fellas. Sniper rifle. Very seldom you ever make that shot, but when you do, it's so worth it. So it finished off me a fighter off, and now I'm heading over here to the military base. And I'm not a GA pilot. I just don't have the, what do you call it, the temperament for it. Maybe I'm just old. I don't know. It's just such a slow gameplay for me. And then, of course, I also lose control of my aircraft here for some reason. Thank you, Wargaming, for locking up my controls. But that's all right. I get it back here eventually, and I got my first up here, a Focke-Wulf 189C. And I'm going to take him out of commission because I don't want him flipping caps on me. Get a nice 204 damage shot. He wants to go head-to-head with me. Yeah, it don't work either, buddy. So, get my second kill of the game, and now I'm going to have to start doing ground targets here. Pull in here. Yep. Almost finished it. Looking around behind me, and and this what kills me about these air defense fighters. They're always kind of a pain in the ass. So I'm going to suppress a little bit of the bomber, or of the anti-aircraft, just give me a little bit less damage that I have to work with later on, and start turning the objective back to us. And you're going to watch, like I said, with the firepower on this thing, it's great. 237 millimeters do a lot of damage. Problem is, it's relatively slow, and it takes a little bit of time to actually work over an objective. And this is kind of what I said about in Garage, how without an ordnance, it doesn't help. Because you notice that we got 4 aircraft here with me, 5 aircraft at one point, and as fast as I'm turning these objectives, they're as I'm killing these ground targets. I'm trying to flip this as quickly as possible, but I keep getting reset because the planes here in the objective with me keep dying. This is the tug and pull back and forth on objectives, so I'm trying my damnedest to kill as many ground targets as I can, as fast as I can, only to have it flip back on me because of the bots that are currently getting dead, and they're dying rather quickly. Put a couple more nice shells in here, trying to finish it off, get a little bit more flaps extended, try to flip around on it, get some distance out, flip back around, and now I had 4 planes in here, now I have 2, and this was the struggle this whole game. I was just trying to get as much of these things killed as I possibly could, and of course, as you noticed, as soon as I flipped it, we lost another plane. Now it was just me and another fighter, with the defense bots, defense aircraft still in play. We lose the center objective, and we were doing pretty well. We were looking really nice up to this point, and yeah, there's not much I can do about it here. So, still just plugging away, and like I said, with this big 237s, you do a lot of damage, but it takes way too much time. If I would have had a couple, say 2 bombs on here, I could have turned a few of these objectives a lot quicker than having to continually shoot them with the 237s. So finally pick up that one, and it's looking, and yep, I lost another plane. It's like almost you want to just keep beating your head against the rock, because no matter what I'm doing here, every time one of my planes die, of course, I lose my objective points that I had just spent the time doing it. And of course, they're bombers, but with the 2 bullfighters in here, they've worked both of those guys over pretty hard. So I'm looking pretty good right now. I got a few of these here, and there's a chance. Yeah, and of course they get the other bullfighter again, and I'm now by myself in this cap with bullfighters. Not a good place to be. You're going to see me take maybe a little bit of run here and see if I can knock off this a little bit quicker, because like I said, they keep dying on me as I do it, and that's about the time the heavy fighters decide to take notice that I'm still alive. And this works out. This is kind of one of them GA deals where let those guys work up on the bombers, gives you a chance to actually do a number on the ground targets. Can't quite get over there, and that's about the time that the bullfighters show up, and I don't have much choice. I can't hang around here for too much longer. So screw it. I'm going to flip back down here to the bottom and see if I can finish off a few more targets down here. I don't need a whole lot more. This thing would have been flipped a long time ago if I hadn't had those other planes dying on me. So I'll get very close. Sadly, they flipped the other one, and there isn't really a whole lot I can do here. Just didn't have the time, maybe not even the time, maybe not the plane to do it. You know, when your bots all decide to die, and they keep just resetting your objective. So, finish off the last target. Finish the match. 9,000. Yeah, you could tell. I mean, yeah, this is an iconic plane, but this plane is not easy to play for that reason. With these two 37 millimeters, like I said, you do a lot of damage, but it takes, to me, it seems like it takes a fair amount of time to knock out an objective with them. I mean, yeah, you know, like I said, I'm not a GA pilot usually, so maybe there's a little bit more of a trick to this than I know of. If anybody actually has some real good suggestions on how target priority would be awesome if you can do that. But I'm going to bring up one more and kind of give you, like I said, a little bit more of a gameplay in this aircraft. Hey guys, back with the gameplay for the Ju-87 Stuka. This one I'm going to be playing a little bit different. You know, I was talking about earlier with the best defense against a GA is another GA, and that's what you're going to see me do in this aircraft. With these two 37 millimeters, they work their way through other ground attack planes pretty quickly. And, you know, coming into the cap over here of this objective, shooting up ground targets is all fine and dandy, but unless you take care of the GAs, you're just going to end up with constantly blowing up a target, and they're blowing up a target, you blow up a target, and the objective never really changes. So I'm going to play this thing as more of a dedicated GA hunter, and which is, you know, it does pretty well with these two 37 millimeters. I come back here during the IL-2. I got the first IL-2 up, and you know, like I said, I was talking about a little bit earlier about how these guns take a little bit of time to get used to. You watched that unbelievable one shot I did on that other aircraft, but typically, no, these guns are not terribly accurate. You know, they have a wide dispersion, slow rounds, but when you do hit, they fucking wreck. So, I'm not, like I said, once again, not spending my time shooting at ground targets because there's way too many GAs in here. You know, they have 3, and I need to stop them from flipping this objective. So we're actually back to blue on the objective, and I have just these 2 GAs left, and I'm going to punish them as much as I can. Unfortunately, here comes the spawn of red blood clot of baddies that are currently on their way to killing me. So finish him one more time, turn the objective pack a little bit more, and I'm looking for help here because I'm not getting it. There is nobody else. They've already shot down all the blue planes, so I'm going to see if I can get Vorsh before I decide to go dead. Yeah, they're all over me. Turn around. The rear gunner on this thing is pretty lame. I don't know. There's not a whole lot there to really detour enemy fighters on your tail. The 7.92s just don't have the punch to really put a hard scare into enemy fighters. So I finally die. Kind of figured that was going to happen. I was hoping to take one more GA out with me, but it doesn't work. So load back in here, pick the other airfields. We got to get that mining facility to win the game, and I'm heading back towards center with the Ju-87G. That's about the time I noticed incoming GAs. And you know, like I said, GAs left alone by themselves will do a number on your target or on your objective. And since I have nobody here to help me, it's, of course, is my job to straighten this out. So IL-2 is running away. When like I said, once I do hit, though, I do get some big numbers off of him, but it does take a little while. Once again, with these two 37s, you can just see the shells hitting all around him. And actually, that one actually hit his tail for some reason, and it didn't finish him off. But get one more shell into him, finish him off, protect the cap. Can't not lose this. This objective is really important to staying alive. It is the air base, allows you to spawn a little closer to the actual fight. Coming on another IL-2. And of course you can see that my shells are all over the place. Halfway to me because I'm either not shooting worth the shit or just RNG. Alright, so finish off that GA. And yeah. Put a shell into him. Turn around, flaps extended. It does turn a little bit better than IL-2, so you don't really have a problem getting around on their tail. And I'm going to see if I can send him back to the garage as well. Come on, boys. There you go. You can do it. They always shoot just a little bit low, they seem like. Finally, get the other kill on him. Turn our objective back to complete blue, and I'm out of here. The rest of the defense fighters can deal with these guys. Look at my rearview mirror here, seeing if I can pick up the last fighter, but he doesn't seem to be interested, so I'm going to go back to center here. About that time I noticed, here comes my GA buddies. Yeah. Now I have to defend. You know what, like I said, this is just something you can do with them. The best counter GAs are other GAs. And this is, once you are hitting, this thing does a spectacular job of taking out other GAs. Slow speed, flaps, big cannons, very nice. Get a shot in on that one. IL-2 is running away. And, ooh, so close. Getting the lead down here. And I'm sure this, like I said, this it'll get a lot better once I get a better crew in it. But I just had the plane in the plane. I hadn't played it for a long time. So I threw in a relatively new crew. And I haven't trained him up to 100%. So, getting a few more shots in the IL-2. See if I can get him knocked out here before he does any more damage to my objective. Seems like it takes forever. But then you get them little squealy moments when you one-shot another aircraft, you know, like I did in the last video where I shot that guy at, I don't know, 2,000 feet or whatever, and both 237s actually hit. Yeah, those are the moments you love. So, still defending, still trying to keep these ground attack planes off, because at this moment, like I said, nobody seems to give a shit that they are here blowing up our objective. Get a couple more shots in here to the IL-2, finish him off, and the next IL-2 is, of course, back. I don't know if these human pilots just don't get it or what. Letting me have their rear the whole time. They're not going to flip this thing fast enough to actually make a difference. So, back in here on Duberville, we're going to see if I can get him finished off before he turns turns it on me. And come on, boys, one more, come on, there we go, and I finish him off. So, kind of an unusual role for the aircraft, but you got to do what you got to win. And in my opinion, once again, if you are in a GA, you should be countering GAs as much as possible for the win, especially if they're bots, even if they're humans. A GA left alone by himself will wreak havoc on everything that you do and whatnot. And this the Ju-87G is ideally suited for it, really. If you can get the 37s hitting, they really wreck other GAs rather quickly. So, thanks for watching, guys, and I will see you guys later.